You know, a question I get asked a lot about VA uh, appeals is, should you ever drop an appeal? And actually, there are times when you should drop your appeal and refile. And I want to go over that. Because a lot of people think that, if you have an appeal, if you have an appeal that it's worth it because of the potential for back pay. But not every appeal is going to result in back pay. And a lot of times waiting for the back pay is not worth the potential of money that you're going to miss waiting for that appeal. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So check this out. Well, first off, let me just say it. I think if you're going to file an appeal, pretty much you need to stick with that appeal. But as I mentioned earlier, there are certain times when you should consider dropping your appeal and just filing a new claim. Like on this claim I had, and I got I don't really mind showing the conditions, but it's no big deal to me anyway. This is what I actually went through. And I think veterans need to know, if you got some real good example. That's what's a little different about my videos, is that I went through this. So this is stuff that I filed and I claimed in my videos and during my claim process. And so what happened here was, right, I filed this claim. I filed it back in 2017. And I got this decision notice saying, okay, yeah, we understand you've got the condition, but it's rated at 0. And when I looked at the information I had versus the claim, I realized that they made a mistake. So I could have started this appeal back in 2017, which would have been, I think, the first part of 2017. And I would have still been waiting for this appeal now. And this is 2019. So instead of filing an appeal, I realized that, okay, they somehow or another, whoever did this claim made a mistake and overlooked the actual documentation and medication that's in my claim. So what I did was, they gave me 0% rating. 0% rating. A higher evaluation of 10% is not warranted for this condition unless evidence shows continuous medication required. So I'm thinking like, okay, the record's clearly in black and white say that that's the case. Now I can file an appeal and let this appeal go on for 2, 3, 4, 5 years and eventually win it, because if you see here, this condition this claim was one where the documentation was there to show that it was more than 0%. They didn't deny it. They initially denied it when I filed this years ago. And then they came back and I refiled and they came back and said, okay, it's 0%. But still, they got it wrong. Now, in this particular case, I could have waited and waited for the appeal to go through. But instead, I looked at the information and realized I got the proof right here. It's in black and white. 10% rating is warranted when due to continuous medication required to control the condition. And I just put in there point blank, the examiner overlooked the August 2017 decision, which was a 0, and didn't pay attention to the fact that, I was taking vitamin D to control that condition. And I even put in my notice, my letter, this is my letter to them. I put in my notice 38, I quoted the regulations. If you don't have 38 CFR, you're doing yourself a serious injustice. You got to have that regulation if you're going to file any kind of claim with the VA. But the 38 CFR said in black and white, a 10% rating if condition. 10% rating is given if symptoms including nausea, anorexia, fatigue, or constipation are present despite surgery, or if, remember my last video, if you watch it, the word or is significant. Because if you don't have all of this, you would think that, oh well, I can't file it. But whenever it says or, and or is normally a lesser condition than what's required up here. It says or constant medication is required to control the symptoms. There is a whole plethora of VA items that you can claim that or is in the condition statement. It doesn't say and, a lot of them say or. So this was a clear indication that, okay, there was a mistake made and I need to file either an appeal or file a claim. Now, I could have waited or filed for an increase. I could have waited for the appeal and the filed appeal back to, I don't know, I think it was like 2 years. And that would have resulted in an increase. But instead of filing that appeal and waiting to try to get a 10% increase and a couple of $100 of back pay, appeals going, 3, 4, 5 years now, I decided to just go ahead and file a new claim and collect what I was going to collect now each month versus trying to go back pay and not get the back pay for another 4 or 5 years. You see what I'm saying? Why wait for an appeal to come through that's going to take a number of years when you got the proof right here, right now, that your claim is warranted of an actual rating or an approval? And so in this particular case, I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to try to go back 2 years or 3 years on an appeal and then wait another 2 years, 3 years, 4 years or longer to get that appeal, to get a 10% increase. A 10% increase in this particular case jumped me up from an 80 to a 90. So it would have been a significant back pay, right? But it would have been offset by the fact that I could have been getting that increase 3 years, and so you miss out on a number of years of payment trying to get a back pay sometimes. Now, a lot of people, that back pay is very important to them. To me, if I can get it now, I'm not waiting to get a back pay of 1 year, 2 years, and end up having to wait 4 or 5 years to get that, because appeals are taking forever. And then there's no guarantee that when you file appeal that they won't make another mistake and you have to go to the next level appeal. I got an appeal now that's been going on since 2012. But in this case, if you have an appeal that it's a couple of years old, but you got information right now saying that this condition warrants an approval or a rating, and if your appeal, most appeals are, especially if it's going to a second level like to a board, you know, they've gotten better, but still it could take you some years. I mean, I've even had an attorney tell me and a claim clerk tell me that, you know, it could be 4 or 5 years that you're waiting on it. So you got proof right now that your claim is pretty certain to be approved, like this one, and it's clear they made a mistake. I just filed for an increase. I filed it from a 0 rating to a 10% rating, whereas I could have went back and filed an appeal from that period because the evidence was clearly there. So that's pretty much the only time I think you should really drop your appeals. If you got good information right now that your claim clearly was adjudicated wrong, you've looked at the regulations, 38 CFR, you got the clear proof that they made a mistake, refile it. This one is a little different because it was a 0 rating and not a, you know, not a total disapproval. But the same thing applies. If you got information that you clearly see that there was a mistake made, open the claim up again and basically let them file it. Actually, my son did that. They clearly made a mistake on his rating. He just reopened the claim versus doing an appeal because the appeal process is so long, whereas now they're doing new claims in 90 days, some of them up to 60 days, you know. And so you can do it that way, or you can wait to, you know, wait for that appeal and, you know, have that emphasis on the back page for, you know, a couple of years. To me, it was worth it to get the money now versus trying to wait to collect, you know, a couple of years of back pay of a couple of $100, you know, where I can go from a 80 to a 90% now. And I've been collecting that increase for this was August of 2017. I filed it in May of 2018, and I've been collecting it. I think I got it approved. They actually, this was amazing because they looked at this claim and they approved this claim in like 2 months. So it was May, June, it was like July of 2018. Bam, they approved it. And so you collect that money now versus I still would have been in the appeal process and, you know, just waiting. So that's my take on it. There is a time when you probably want to go ahead and just refile your claim. If you've looked through the regulation and you know that you got solid information that your claim should have been approved. And I guess the key to that is you have to do the homework, and you got to look at 38 CFR because it breaks it down. I mean, when you get denied on a claim, especially for something like medical or lack of medical, or they misdiagnosed the medical and you know it's there, go ahead and refile that claim. Now, that's not set in stone. I mean, everybody got to make their own decision and choices. Just for me, I thought that it was better to refile a claim versus trying to wait all those years to get an appeal. All right. My next video, we're going to go over, I hope, my long-term appeal and what happened with the board. So, see you in the next one. Peace.